Good morning, students. This is the part third of our second chapter, the end of bipolarity. In the first part, we discussed about the Berlin Wall and the main features of Soviet Union. In the second part, we discussed about the disbandations of the Soviet Union and their consequences. But in this part, we discuss after the conditions of disbandations and how their economies are affected. Let's start the lesson. You have to think about the shock therapy. The word therapy is used during the period of a medical line. This word is used, but here we have different meaning. To know about the meaning of this word, you have to remember the something, then you get the meaning of it. After the disbandations of the Soviet Union, new republics are set up their economies. They have to need lot of capital, money to establish their countries, establish their economies. So after that, there was only one strong nation, United Nations, who is too much stressed on the capitalisms, democracies. So these nations have to follow the ideologies of the United States of America or the Western countries. So with the effects of the Soviet Union, with the effects of the World Bank, IMF, International Monetary Fund, United Nations, and the United States of America, these countries, especially Russia, Ukraine, and Eastern European countries, are ready to change the structures of their economy, ready to change the structures of their political bodies. They are ready to change their authoritarian socialist system into the democratic capitalistic system. So this is known as the shock therapy. Under this therapy, they have to change the whole from whole opposite. During their socialist system, there was a capitalistic, but now they have to become the capitalistic. So this was the totally change in their economy nature. During the period of Soviet Union, there was totally public property, totally government property there. Government had the great ownership on the all properties of the Soviet Union. There was no private properties allowed there. But now it was the time when the no public property. There was only and only private properties there. During the period of the Soviet Union, they have to stress on the collective farms. But now they have to change it with the private farm. Private agriculture is introduced in these republics who wants to get help from World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and the Western European countries, United States of America. So this is known as a shock therapy. Now, under this therapy, they have to change the natures of their economy. They have to change the structures of their economy. Now they are too much on the trade because they know that by the trade they are the money from the other countries. They have a chances to become a developed nation. So now they have to stress on the trade with the other countries, especially the Western European countries. Then during the period of the Soviet Union, the trade is restricted, their economies are closed, but now they change the natures of their economy. Now the free trade is there, open economies are there. Each and every countries have the effect of globalizations, have the privatizations is there, liberations is there. There is also a direct investment because these countries know that if the foreign investment well placed in their country, then they have a great chances for their development. So they open the doors for the foreign investors. This is only possible if they use the foreign direct investments. Then, during the period of the Soviet Union, they have to set all trades with the alliance countries, Soviet Union countries with the Soviet Union countries and Eastern European countries. But after that, now they are free to set their trade relations with the other countries. So these countries mostly stress to set their trade relations with the Western European countries because they have to know that these countries are advanced in their technology. Their products are with their good quality. These products related to the Western European countries have a great demand in the Eastern European countries. Consumers always prefer there because they have built up with the strong technology. Then all barriers on the currency conversions are left out. These republics are ready to exchange their currencies with United States dollars. So now United States dollars set the monopoly for the exchange. It was the first time that when the whole world is ready to trade within one currency, that is United States. Now, what are the consequences of the shock therapy? After that, they change the natures of their economy. We already studied in the first phase from second phase. After that, there will be only the private industries, especially in the Russia. So Russia sells the 90% of its industries to the private owners. So only private industries is developing they are developing their nations. They are selling their ill industries, affected industries, or the industries who's already dead. They are giving the chance to the private investors to come and invest in their countries. Now they are stressed on the market forces of demand and supply to set their price. Before it, during the period of the Soviet Union, the market price are set up with the government sectors. Now the government sector is left out. Now their price are set up by the market forces. The largest garage sale in history that was took out in the period of 1990 or 91 in Russia. When they sell their economies, they sell their industries, even some of their industries are in the good condition, they have some profit. But under the privatizations, this even sell out their valuable industries by undervalued industries. They sell their gaining industries, they sell their profitable industries. This is known as the largest garage sale in history. When they try to sell their industries, they are ready to issue the coupons, they are ready to issue the receipts to their citizens to exchange or to buy the industries or during the period of sale. But their people spends money. They are selling their coupons, they are selling their receipts in the market because they want money. They want to buy the goods. But that period there was a shortage of goods. So during this period, when the supply of the ruble was limited or the supply of money was low, that time due to this, their consumer wants money and they wants the things, they want the goods, and there was a period when there was a shortage of the consumer goods in the Russia. This conditions rise the inflations in the Russia. It rise the ruble crisis in Russia. Ruble was the currency of that period of Russia. This lowered the value of rubles in international levels. Low GDP. After the 10 years of this change from public to private, of in the 1999 or in the 2000, the GDP of Russian GDP was low, and it was continuing lowing and lowing as compared to 1989 GDP. It was seriously worries for the Russian condition. Migration of the manpower. The employment conditions are becoming the worst in the Russian side, and the nations who get the freedom, who new established, because there was a time when the employment was limited there, the mafia or the ganging is there. So the skilled laborers start migrating from the Western countries because they pass money. They are ready to migrate from the other parts of the world. Then economic inequalities. By starting the private industries, there was a time when the economic inequalities set up. Between the rich and poor gap was continuously rising. These are the consequences on the effect of their economies. But some effects of their political structures is also there. They are too much stressing on their economic consequences. But during the too much stress, they forget the political consequences. They are set up their constitutions with the too much hurries that gives the too much powers to their president. So there was a strong positions of presidents in these most of countries who gets freedom, who become surgeons from the Soviet Union, especially in the Russian, Ukraine, Belarus. These countries' presidents will have the strong position. There was no opposition party. They have become authoritarian again. Reorganizations of nations. These countries, by using their natural resources again, they become again strong, like especially the Russian side. Russia has left with the too much vast resources, natural resources like minerals, oils, and other resources. By using these resources, they set up as a nation again in the world. Tensions and conflicts. There was too much conflicts in after that period. There was too much civil wars that continue in these countries. In Russia, there was a civil war during that period, but by using the military, they suppressed it. There was a civil war in Tajikistan. There was a civil war in Czechoslovakia. In Czechoslovakia, there was two parts of the nation, one Czechos and then Slovakia. So after the civil war in Czechoslovakia, two nations again become. There was a civil war in Georgia. So these countries have to face the civil wars after that period. The last portion of this lesson, that is related to India's post-communist countries. India set up their strong relations with these countries, especially with Russia, because these countries have to support India. India gets economic support from the Russian side or the communist side. Especially, they have to give us the political support when USA is supporting the Pakistan on the issue of Kashmir. At that time, the Russian side support India. There was also a military support, because USA always gives the weapons to the America, that these military weapons are also given by India by Russia. There was cultural support, because Indian Bollywood actors and films and songs are too much popular in Russian side. They also support India in space programming. They give some of the cryonic engines that are used in the space programming. They also give us special technology in the space program. So India was supported by these countries. So these countries always support India. they have a strong places.